Welcome back to Chain of Thought, everyone. I am your host, Connor Bronsden, and I'm here with my fellow co-host, Yash Sheth, COO and co-founder of Galileo. Yash, always great to have you on the show with me. It's been too long.
Thanks, Connor. And we have an esteemed guest today, Manoj Agarwal, who's co-founder, president of DevRev. Prior to that, Manoj has been SVP of engineering and GM for hybrid cloud at Nutanix. And so really excited to have this chat, Manoj, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Yash and Connor, for having me here. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I've heard you talk a lot about this idea of information symmetry and your passion for it and how it's informing a lot of your decision making around the approach to AI and what DevRev is thinking about. Can you elaborate on the concept of information symmetry and its importance in how DevRev is achieving business outcomes today?
I would say that, if you just go and look at today through the internet, the amount of information that exists, people have access to within whatever is available to them freely. I mean, I can just go and search for the information and can get that information at the tip of my fingertip, and it's not distinguished between the two people. If you just think about it, me and Yash can have the same search, can get the similar result, and can go and act on it. Now that has been made easier by the use of now LLMs, obviously OpenAI with the GPT. That what we see that has started to happen, where I can get the information in more succinct way that I can go and consume it. Now start to think about within the enterprise, within the company, within the businesses, what happens. Most of the time, for us to be able to make a decision, we require the different people to come in the meeting, and they all bring some information with them. They have access to the different set of information that not necessarily everybody has the same set of information. And I typically that what I've found, and which when you have to make a decision, a lot of time this fight, people can call it okay, people with the biggest title and loudest voice, they start to make decisions. I'm sure that you all have seen it somewhere or the other that happens. And for me, it was not about the title, it was not about that shouting game. It was mostly around the information that they carried was very different compared to the other people. And because they have access to the different data, different tools, there are different systems, they are into different meetings where they're also gathering this information. And the question was, if information symmetry was there, if the same information was available to every single person in that room, did we even require this meeting to make a decision?
Yeah.
And that was the crux of it. I truly believe that inside the enterprise, there is this big amount of silos that exist because of the data silo that exists. Is the big reason also that we spend so much money today.
I'm curious about being in a large organization myself earlier, right? And having been in these meetings, like recency bias creeps up quite a bit as well, apart from the loudest voice. And and this happens to us in a startup as well, that hey, this customer is asking for a feature X, let's go and build it. But actually going back and thinking about what let's look at all the feedback that we've received around this and holistically make that decision. I think that's huge.
Yes, you're just touching something on very important. Have you heard a product manager running to you and saying that, okay, last night I had at Beer Bash this conversation, and the customer said, okay, this is one feature that I need.
Yeah.
And they come back and say, okay, this is the highest priority in the company, that everybody should work on it. 3 months later, you deliver that feature, and you go and ask the same product manager, what's happening, how many people are using it, and so on. They actually have the list of new features from somebody else. They don't talk about the ones that you just delivered.
Yeah.
Because it happens all the time. So amount of waste is just it's
crazy. Yeah.
you start to look at it, and you can save a lot. I mean, if you just had the information symmetry, you start to collect this information in the right way.
So how do you solve this, Manoj?
This data, first of all, they exist in the organization, and we call it the structured data, unstructured data, and so on. And now when I say structured data, think of okay, if I'm in customer support, I'm using Salesforce Service Cloud, or I'm using Zendesk, or I'm using some other systems to keep this data, organize this data. If I'm in software development, I'm probably putting that in Jira, Atlassian, or GitHub, or some other places that I'm going and putting that data. One is basically these are structured data. Now the conversation that I'm having, all this collaboration that I'm having, for that there is a completely different system. Like today, people, especially you start to look at this, Slack is very popular. I mean, go and look at like even if you are coming from the software development side, you will put some information and then jump back to the Slack.
Yeah.
As soon as I say, "Oh, can you go and look at this particular Jira ticket ID?" Okay, and that's where the collaboration happens, right?
Yep. Yep.
And can you imagine 2 days later, somebody comes and asks, okay, how did you really make that decision? You can potentially still find the person who can come and answer that. 3 months later, somebody new joins, comes and they want to find this information out. Like, how do they find it? First of all, like the person who actually has done the work also, they have no idea. They probably will not remember anything. A search also is such a big problem today on Slack that you will see, try to find that information. So the question is, all this information that we are talking about it, and there are so many silos already getting created. How do you really bring it together? How do you connect it to the right thing, which is like where we call it, for the existence of the company, there are only two things that matters: is the product or services that you provide and the customers you serve.
Yeah.
So how do you really organize your data around those two things?
To that point, like this is a daily thing on our team as well, where there's discussions on Slack and they pertain to a ticket, and then an engineer is like always saying that, hey, let's go back and put this on the ticket. And we've even built a plugin in Slack to like take this chat and then throw it in the relevant ticket, because it's very important. It's extremely important to in Slack itself, like any collaboration platform, whether it's Slack or even offline in meetings and on conference calls, like things are scattered extremely, and you tend to lose that. Like and there have been times where I've gone back and said like, hey, we built this product feature. Why did we do it this way? Like why did we do it this way and not that? And there's no context. Like it's so hard to find even that information on why did we make that decision.
This is a Slack channels that you're aware of.
It-
There are
it's
any other ones that you're not aware of. The same conversation happening.
crazy, yeah. But I think coming back to the point of like, Connor's point of like, how do we solve for this niche? Like organizationally, what do we need to do? And there with AI, obviously there's a step forward where we can distill all of these into something more structured. But how are you guys at DevRev approaching this?
Yeah, so we actually address this, I think, beautifully. And I'll say, um, when you look at the data outside on the internet through the LLMs now that we are able to go and do so much, right? And even the cost, when you start to think about it, like in 18 months, it has gone down like what? For 1 million tokens, $50 down to what, 12 cents or something now.
Yeah,
For
crazy.
much more advanced models also, more than 99% reduction in the cost. Now with that, we are able to, I mean, at least consumers, they can just go and use it, don't even worry about the cost. The question is, how do you do that in the context of the data that is there in the enterprise? Could you really bring that data together? Is something that first thing that we attacked on. You said, okay, people have these tools, systems, conversational systems also. How do you bring this data together? How do you really build a knowledge graph? And the knowledge graph, when we say it, it's not just any knowledge graph where you just dump the information and magically it will go and figure it out. Could you really build a business centric knowledge
Hmm.
that understands your product, how you sell your product in the market, how you organize your product? And then it also understands customers. So once you organize your data, and this is where that a lot of help from the AI also comes in, like with the LLMs, power of LLMs that comes in, that it
Yeah.
can understand the context and go and connect it with the right areas. Once you brought that data together, now you can talk about the conversational AI on top of it, just like ChatGPT. You can start to talk about that. Okay, even the automation, when you talk about it with the agentic AI, you can start to now imagine the kind of things that you can come and do.
without AI, I can imagine an engineer going and understanding all my data and the concepts, the product concepts, the teams, the customers, and then creating a custom schema for the knowledge graph. But now you can have a personalized schema for the knowledge graph from the AI itself, and then add a conversation layer on top of that, so that retrieval becomes more personalized as well, right?
Yes, so yes, one thing that I want to point out, there is one basically just you just bring the data together, which is like one way I can consume that data. I can maybe even flatten that data, put it in a database, go and link it and so on. The other part that you have to think about is it's not just one way, which like what the data warehousing solutions always did with the ETL, on which that you can build all kind of report, analytics, dashboard that you can go and create. Now conversationally also you can search and get this information out. We are talking about like when you have to take action on this data, when you have to also go and create new set of information, whether it's okay in the context of customer support, that things that I'm not able to, let's say, deflect L1 support. Customers coming and asking a question, with the knowledge, I will be able to deflect now. But there are things that I will not be able to do. I have to go and get into the database itself or my primary system, gather that information out, bring that information out in real time, process it, converse with the customer with the conversational AI interface. And then customer will say, okay, maybe let's say I want to order something, XY. Are you able to also go and update, like take that order, being able to go and update the primary system, right? So now we are talking about you can start to see that amount of things that are happening is all through conversational AI interface. And that requires two-way sync with your primary system. It has to understand, I mean, what exactly is the order? What does order even mean? This system, right? So what we have built is not our patented airdrop technology, and in fact, knowledge graph is also patented technology that we have, which does two-way sync with those systems.
So it is kind of a mini agentic interaction. Like it's taking your request, serving that the right information, and then making the right change back into the system. How do you see that growing? Like, so I think of this as almost like this is an AI platform you're building on top of the data, and you're talking about like three things so far: connecting the data, personalizing the schemas, adding the conversational layer on top, and now making it agentic, right? Like, where do you see this growing?
Yeah, just think about like when we are sitting in the meeting room. People obviously they have different set of information, but they also have skills, things that they do, and those are skills. Can you start to imagine those skills now that you can program? This is the way certain things are done. Every single skills, and doesn't have to be one skill. I have 20 skills, and I can go and write those skills in plain English, right? So if you can start to think about, okay, every person or kind of profile that there are skill set, you can program in the system. Now on top of that, now think about the entire meeting that is happening. Every time there is a question, people are bringing different skills, and that's what is the agentic AI to us. So if I could go and stitch this skill set along with the data and between the different skills to do end-to-end work, then I know that I have solved it. And that's the state that we are looking at. And the good news is that this is possible now. Early stage of that, actually, I like your chain of thought, just the name itself. I mean, platform also that first provide you as you are going and experimenting with these things is there's a chain of thought will give you, because these are all the skills that we are bringing together for the questions that you have asked just now. If you approve it, I will go and run that chain of thought and then give you the information in a way that you can consume it through the conversational AI.
At Galileo, we're constantly thinking of, when developers are building agentic workflows like the one we're talking about, in order to make sure that these workflows are performing more reliably, there is a developer and a subject matter expert building that feature. And now if we can distill that subject matter expert's knowledge into metrics, that this is how the end-to-end agent should be behaving, and here are the 3 things I would check manually, but do that at scale for 100 different agents. That's a very similar analogy of like how you're thinking about transforming skills into
Yeah.
actions, and for us is like automating evaluation. Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, what are we trying to automate? Most of the mundane things that we do.
Yeah.
And those mundaneness now, with the reasoning that the system is able to do, I mean, and you stitch together this mundaneness, like every single person do, is like more complex tasks they're able to do now through the agentic
Yeah.
AI.
I'd use a really basic example I saw recently. Text to SQL has been definitely a use case for LLMs where it's like, oh, I'm, talking to Claude or ChatGPT and I need to query this database. Here's what I need. Help me write the great SQL command. I don't want to spend the time doing it. Awesome. Let's go do that. And now we're shifting to this agentic world where we can use agentic querying through function calling, and it uses the structured queries of the predefined function calls to JSON. And you can just put your natural language processing in and get the information you need without having to do this, in between filter steps. And that's just like one example of something a lot of people may do where they have to query a database at some point. And there are so many potential areas where this can just speed up, to your part, Manoj, where it's like, hey, I just give you the natural language, I get the output I need. And then somewhere along the line, we have human feedback that comes in about the outputs so that we can have continuous learning based off that human feedback and then based off of LLMs judge opportunities. And to me, that really speaks to the opportunity here where we can create agents that continuously learn to better solve our problems for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you spoke about also Yash, a question that is asked, and when it is asked to Manoj versus it is asked to Yash, like how will Manoj respond versus how will Yash respond, and so
Yeah.
on. Now start to think about it. Like when we sit in the triage meeting, a lot of managers, they sit in the triage meeting. Okay,
Yeah.
what should be the priority of this? Should this be P0? Should this be P1, P2, P3? Like, what do they look at? They'll just look at, stare at the data. Okay, so I see it's coming from this customer, this high paying customer, it's a tier 1. I look at the health of the customer. Maybe it's like red or orange or whatever health score that you look at it. It's
Yeah.
strategic customers, maybe, even though they're not paying any money right now, that I want to go and win this account, or the conversation that is happening. So typically, based on this structured information, unstructured information, they're making certain decisions. Now, can you imagine that
Mhm.
what Yash,
Mhm.
who is such a high level, when he looks at it, he'll make the decision this way.
Yeah.
Could I go and program that?
That'll be
And now,
amazing.
and now there are like the 200 people who are doing the triage on their own, or maybe sitting in this room, and like it's multiplied by 200. And machine is doing it at scale.
Yeah, that reminds me of an actual use case we worked with one of our customers. Is like, you get thousands of tickets every day on like things that are not working from many customers. How can we bake in human intelligence for like those expert engineers triaging the tickets? And this is a very small example, but like it's very much in vein of what we discuss at a high level. And these tickets can be auto triaged, and also like next steps, automated steps, can be carried out by the LLMs. And we've seen this and productionized this already with customers. So this
Yeah.
is baby steps, but now if you generalize that to like every function in the organization, and have experts be able to program their intelligence, that's amazing. I think that's doable this year, right? Like it's something that we see coming now rather
It's
than like 5 years later.
it's happening now. We all see it. I'm sure the corner you hear this from every single guest who comes here. We are experiencing it right now. It's a very interesting time, I must
Mm.
say.
Yes.
And now, if you think one step beyond, Manoj, right? Like now, what's next after that when there are many agents doing many tasks in the enterprise? And let's say from this particular use case of programming skills from people and making them operationalizable in the platform, every enterprise also has a lot of different systems. And let's say now let's skip 3 years. I'm not even saying 5 years because things are moving so quickly, but 3 years from now, all of these systems will have their own agents. Your service cloud agent will have to talk to your HR agent, and then you have your engineering ticket system, whether it's Jira or something else, has its own agent. Now these agents will be exposing certain tasks and activities and actions that they can take. And let's say now this is like, let's say DevRev is kind of the central hub where people can just get work done, right?
Mhm.
How do you see the DevRev agents communicating with all the other agents? And this is actually relevant now because there's some level of standardization efforts going on in this space. But I'm curious about like, how do you see that vision pan out?
I mean, first of all, we absolutely expect like on the siloed systems that also there are going to be agents that people write that does one thing really well, may not have any other context about the other areas. The way that the system actually in the end has to play out is when you think about the agents, these are really the skills we are talking about. And if you could go and bring those skills and can execute it in near real time. Now, the real question is just going to be when do you have really a lot of latency that you have to go and figure it out in real time, that can you go and execute, get all that data, process all of that data together, pass it on to the next system, like so. Uh, anywhere that you have to go and do joins between the different systems to be make head and tail out of it is where that we start to see or we learn quite a bit. Now today the approach that we have taken is build agent on top of DevRev.
Yeah.
Bring the data sources, connect it as something that we provide the connectors. We call it airdrop with the airdrop technologies, structured data, unstructured data, and then start to build your agents here. But I mean, the architecture should, in my opinion, also span it to that. Okay, it can go and talk to other agents also.
One thing we've been seeing in the space across many different companies is like everyone's building their agents in silos, and and as you said, like there's like actual infrastructure components missing between multi-agent communicating systems, and that's one of the reasons why like Galileo, along with some of the other folks in this space, have created a collective to have standardization. What is like an agent protocol where
Mhm.
every agent can talk to each other. Apart from that, there's like what is DNS for agents? Like how does an agent discover other agents? You in DevRev you can like you have full control, so you can say like, hey, I have my head of finance as an agent, and I can tap onto his or her skills. You can pretty much create a structure within the product. But when it's talking to other systems, how can I detect like in my organization I have, and what's my the people ops system that I want to, or HR system that I want to tap into? There are certain components, and there is also state passing and authentication extension. So these are smaller things that are being worked on now, but
Yeah.
as this collective, we are creating like a way for everyone to come in and extend it. Like it's not just open source with a closed decision maker. It's like everyone contributing to this standard. So we're seeing that there's a huge amount of interest in doing that, and as part of the multi-agentic future. I mean, I'd say like to your point about everyone is in silos and like building their own agents in each doing one good thing. The true ROI between multiple systems will come when like agents can seamlessly talk to each other.
I 100% agree with that statement.
I'm curious what other challenges you foresee as we build this multi-agentic future. Obviously, interagent communication, protocols like model context protocol can help with tool selection, these type of things. But what other challenges should we be preparing for?
Very first thing that I feel inside the enterprise, the data and data silos. Also, just the cleanness of that data, that in itself will take a little while. At least I think is the first step. Uh, what we are experiencing right now, the initial euphoria that every single company thought that they can just go and build something, a chatbot. I was the very easy answer. Even there, the companies found very, very quickly that, you know what, for the same question, 3 times I'm asking, I'm getting different answer.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know which answer was correct. I need to go and ask the subject matter expert now. Uh, like RAG is not same built by one company versus second company versus third company. What does the context itself means? Like how good your embedding models? Uh, so some of these things that we are corner like right now just going through. For us, because we started in 2020, and we at the time that we were looking at commercially available vector database and something that can scale for very small company to very, very large company, nothing existed. So we had to build our own. And we went through like just the 3 iterations of the RAG itself. Now, back then, nobody was calling it RAG. Now we are calling it RAG. So it's easy for people to understand. But yeah, I mean, the challenge is a very, very normal, very, very early days right now. Initial thing was just going and doing the semantically search, something that is context aware. And then the second thing was that, okay, is this thing, especially for the enterprise, uh, from the data governance perspective, the
Yeah.
permission perspective, RBAC and all that, does it like really follow that? Then the third thing is that every time that you're doing it, especially in the context of the organization, there is law of the land, that there are regulations that you have to go and follow. Is there an audit trail that you're going and keeping on what AI is doing and not doing, how it is retrieving that information, what exactly is the information that is providing. So there are many areas right now, Connor, in my opinion, that we all need to work. The big picture that we all know that the conversational AI is here.
We resonate a lot with that point at Galileo because our focus is always to help build trust in these systems. And so, the very first point you made about like non-determinism in the system, like that's what got us motivated to even start the company. Because even at Google, we were trying to launch early versions of Gemini, and it's incredibly hard. Like, if Google gave you a different answer every time, would you trust like Google to be your search engine? No, right? Like, and when it comes to the search engine for the enterprise, DevRev has the same issues. How are you and your teams thinking of instilling that trust in the end user? Because let's say if I ask the agent Manoj for hybrid cloud data, how do I know whether whether I can rely on it?
It's a great question, by the way. For the internal people, you can always this chain of thought that you want to provide, the linkage, where you are getting this information from, because and that's the way that you also learn. I mean that then you start to commit. This is the way that it should. So
It builds trust. Yeah.
so you build trust. You actually teach the machine. This is the way that I think. In fact, you are right. This is your chain of thought makes sense to me. Let's commit. Or when you disagree, that you can ask it to go and construct it differently. When it is in a customer facing world where customers are interacting, you don't have that luxury. They're not the ones who are going to come and train. Only thing that you can do is maybe just getting obviously reinforcement learning. Whether you got the answer or not. And then there is system internally that is continuously checking that actually what information that we gave to the customer, that was the right one or not, especially for the more complex one. Knowledge base and all those are the early days. But when you start to get into the really, really complex thing, you start to look at the reasoning stuff and so on. Is where, you'll have to build a lot more trust.
I'm curious how you're thinking about how other business leaders should be taking action. What advice would you give to other leaders that you talk to as they think through implementing AI in their organizations and trying to solve these information challenges that are coming up throughout?
It's a great question, Connor. Like when I talk to the business leader, uh, don't go just after the AI. Obviously, you'll have to think about what's happening in the world, and but it has to be the use case, the pain point that I have. Recognize those pain points in the context of, let's say, customer support, customer success. When you start to look at it, okay, um, today my cost for every single call that is coming from the customer, there's certain amount of cost that I have. My business is growing. I expect to have more cost over time, and I somehow have to reduce the cost. Now, that is a great business problem, pain point, that should we now look at something from the AI? Can I really go and solve for that? Now, can I really go and even take it to the next level, which is the information that what L1 used to provide, which was just based on the information, could I extend that to L2 also? So if 30% deflection suddenly start to look like 60% deflection. So that will be the extension. Okay, I was able to start, I was able to get the 30% cost reduction right away, but now I can get to the 60% level. So there are ways, I mean, that's where that you go and start to insert. You can't go and say that, okay, I'm just going to go and change everything. So that's one that we advise. Second, I would say, Connor, is quite related. Companies, they'll have to look at their own workforce. If they are AI enabled themselves, will they embrace this or not? Because to me, human with AI is certainly going to displace human without AI. And it's not like something this had been taught as part of the learning uh, coming out of the college or in the organization today. So the question is that, okay, are we also going and training inside the organization, the people, like the same people, will you hire them today or not with the AI? So, I mean, there's a huge amount of responsibility and work that is ahead of us in every single enterprise to train our people in
Yeah.
the use of the AI.
I think we're honestly underrating how much effort there is there. Obviously, we're already seeing people who are effectively leveraging AI systems, whether it's agents or simply great, prompts they're creating, are outperforming many other people within the workforce. But the systemic challenge of how do I get my whole organization engaged in a way that is positive and has reciprocal benefits that stack upon one another can be really challenging. An example of success with this I would give would be an app like Cursor, where as if you can get on enterprise license and you have all your engineers using Cursor or Copilot, the self-reinforcement of that learning about the code base and about how your engineers are coding can not only speed up an individual engineer's code delivery, but also will improve the tool's ability to actually write great code for your code base and align to your needs. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that happening, at least particularly in the technical area. But I think we're maybe not doing enough of that for some other less technical organizations. Obviously there are a lot of firms spinning up for marketers of, oh, we'll solve your content problem, we'll do X, Y, Z. But the training across the board has felt ad hoc so far. And okay, great customer success you brought up earlier is we're starting to solve that like first question problem where like we got a lot of the early queries can be solved by an agent. But how are we enabling our CS folks across the board to leverage AI? And there are certainly organizations that are doing it well, but it seems like there's a gap here right now.
Have you heard, Connor, like inside the organization, that from machine they want perfect answer always, but from human we are okay to get different answer,
Yes.
right? It happens all the time. Like you go and teach people the same content, you ask a question, after that you get different answers, and we are okay with that. And with machine particularly, we expect that it has to do the perfect job.
Satya talked about this on a podcast I listened to recently about this trust challenge where, we have a built-in sense of trust with human beings, whereas we have this higher expectation of our co-pilots, of our agents. It's less of a like, hey, can we get agents in at scale? We're figuring the tech out. Like that is coming, but there is a trust challenge that we have to achieve. And to me, that speaks to the need for evaluation, for observability, for security, for all the things that organizations like LA are working on. So it's definitely an exciting time, but there's a lot of work to be done.
I'll add just one quick point there, right? Like I think just going one level deeper into that issue, we face the same problem on our teams where like AI driven features, like some folks on the team will adopt it very quickly. The others will be skeptical. And I think the paradigm of conversation is very different when you type something in a text box versus there are physical cues to know that, okay, this person may be not sure. So like, I may say, hey, I think it's supposed to be done this way. So does that mean I'm sure or not? Right. But every answer that we get from a machine, it seems like it knows it all. Right. And when it does it, so if I say every single sentence confidently, this is what you do, this is what you do, and maybe even 10% of the time it's wrong, you'll start doubting whether I'm the right expert for it.
Right.
But if I can tell you something that, hey, look, I think it's like that, is in that direction, but I'm being fair and confident, I'm being fair in conveying my level of confidence, that is missing in machines.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, that's why we doubt it. Remember that there's always this 1x developer versus 10x developer that in the industry we talk about. The question is, the machine can make this 1x developer to maybe 6x, 7x developer. We'll at least deploy the AI there first.
Yeah.
Before we start to talk about, okay, 10x will become, I don't know what. We always want it to be 10x. Now, on 10x are the people they are doubting the most, saying that, sorry, it's not able to do the way that I do it.
Manoj, I want to drill in on that vision you're talking about of the relationship between humans and AI and the data you're getting from customers and from other sources. Let's say we solve that flow of information and we enable both humans and machines. We have solved information symmetry. How should companies look? What is that vision of the future for you?
At the end of the day, any technology that you build is supposed to go and help human, period. In that process, like businesses are also that they need to have the top line growth and bottom line growth, both. That has to happen. That will happen through this. But like just if you just focus on the first point itself, amount of time today that is spent on just getting the right data, the number of people that you have to go and talk to today, I mean, just think about like the software development, how percentage of time that people are spending in writing the code versus just trying to go and gather the information, the log files, and talking to the people, what exactly has happened there to find the root cause. Before that, just going and changing that line of code, even changing the line of code, that I need to find out all the changes that has happened in the system around that time. Can you imagine? That work can be done by the machine easily. Machine doesn't get tired, can do that work for you. So at least the way that I visualize this, the data, the fact that the machine can now bring it together, can make a head and tail out of it, can understand the customer, can understand the log, can understand the code, can understand wherever these things has happened, distill that, bring out the information, give it to the human. This is the way that I think probably where the problem could be, with higher certainty, number one, number two, number three, and so on.
We got a lot of work to do, but I'm very excited to see everything that DevRev is putting out. For folks who are listening, what's the best place they can go to find out more about DevRev?
Obviously, devrev.ai is a great place to start. We do have our applications that is available. It's a SaaS offering. You can just self-sign in. There's no cost, no question asked, at least. You can try it out yourself. We are available. I mean, you can schedule a demo. We have DevRev U. It's like U for university. We do a lot of teaching, learning community that has been built through that to talk about this topic also, and even start to talk about this conversation around the product and customers and team intelligence and all of good stuff, Connor.
Fantastic. Well, Manoj, thank you so much for joining Yash and I today. This has been a really wonderful conversation. It's been a ton of fun.
Likewise.
And this was awesome. Learning from you about where the future of information is going. It's pretty exciting. Looking forward to building.
Definitely. And you can always tune in to more Chain of Thought episodes or watch them on our YouTube to dive into a lot more about the future of information and what we are all building. So make sure that you have subscribed to Galileo's YouTube channel for more content, including webinars about how to do agentic evaluations, what the future of multi-agent systems look like, and much more. You can check out our events, deep dives, and of course, every episode of this podcast will be there as well, and you can watch us interact with our lovely guests. Manoj, thank you again for joining us. It's been fantastic. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks for having me.